In 1284, over 100 children followed a stranger out of their town, and none of them ever came back. This is not a fairy tale. This is a crime scene that history tried to turn into a song. Most people think The Pied Piper is just a story about rats and a magic flute. But the truth behind it is far darker. Tonight we are uncovering the real event that inspired the legend. A mass disappearance so disturbing that it was carved into stone, written into town records, and then slowly transformed into a children's rhyme to make it easier to live with. By the end of this video, you will understand why The Pied Piper is not about music. It is about loss, betrayal, and a generation that vanished without a grave. In the German town of Hamelin, there is an old inscription. It does not talk about rats. It does not mention a flute. It simply says that on June 26, 1284, 130 children left the town and were never seen again. No bodies were found, no battle was recorded, no plague was listed, just an empty generation. For centuries, the town avoided music on that street. No weddings, no dancing, no celebrations, because that road was believed to be the path the children walked when they followed the stranger in bright clothes. This is the first clue that The Pied Piper was never meant to be a fairy tale. It was a memorial. In the oldest records, the piper is not magical. He is described as a man in colorful clothing, a traveler, a recruiter, a stranger who arrived with an offer. Medieval Europe was poor. Famine was common. Children were often sent away as labor, servants, or settlers. Some were sold, some were traded, some were taken by force. One theory is that the piper was part of a migration scheme leading children east to colonize new lands. Another theory is darker, that he was a trafficker, moving children into forced labor, religious orders, or slavery. And the darkest theory of all, that they were killed during a journey that went wrong, and no one survived to tell what happened. The flute may not have been magic at all. It may have been music used to calm, to gather, to lead, like a lullaby before a storm. The fairy tale says the town refused to pay him for removing rats. In the real world, the rats may have been famine, disease, or overpopulation. The piper may have promised opportunity, food, safety, a future. And when that promise broke, revenge followed. Not with a sword, not with fire, but by taking what a town loves most, its children. This is why the legend is soaked in guilt. The adults survive, the children vanish, and the story becomes a warning told to future generations in softened words. A town cannot live with the truth that it lost an entire generation, so it changes the story. It adds rats to make it less personal. It adds magic to make it less human. It adds a flute to hide the sound of crying parents. Because saying a stranger stole your children is unbearable, but saying a magical piper led them away somehow hurts less. Fairy tales often work like this. They are trauma turned into myth, history wrapped in fantasy, so it can be told without breaking the listener. The real horror is not the piper. It is the silence after. No graves, no goodbyes, no answers. Just a town that kept a date in its memory, like a scar that never healed. And every time the story is told to children as a rhyme, something else disappears. The truth that once, long ago, a real group of children followed a real man. and walked out of the world forever. The most chilling detail is this: the town records never say the children were taken. They say the children left. They followed. They trusted. They believed. And that is the darkest part of all. The Pied Piper is not a fantasy about music and punishment. It is a memory of mass loss, dressed in color so it could survive the centuries. A warning about trust, a story about how easily innocence can be led away, and a reminder that some fairy tales were never meant to be comforting. They were meant to make sure something like this is never forgotten. If you want to uncover the next dark fairy tale hiding a real nightmare, watch the next video on screen, now.